You'll hear this straight. Americans are quietly obsessed with what Malaysia offers because it fills gaps the US culture often can't: food that surprises the taste buds, a comfortable multicultural everyday life, warmth toward foreigners, stunning islands, and forests that feel wild but safe, and creative youth who speak to global audiences. Many Americans don't shout it on the news, but they're sharing clips, moving for work or retirement, opening small businesses inspired by Malaysian food, and following Malaysian creators online. First, the food. It's not just Asian food to them. Malaysian food arrives as a full sensory plot twist: spicy, sweet, sour, smoky, and deeply regional. Americans who discover nasi lemak, char kway teow, roti canai, or laksa often go from casual curiosity to loyal fans. Food creators on TikTok and YouTube make 30 to 60-second videos where they taste Malaysian dishes and their reactions go viral. Those bite-sized moments build a quiet fandom. People start recreating the recipes at home, visiting Malaysian restaurants in major cities, and buying ingredients online. Market research shows global and Malaysian food service demand is rising, a trend that tracks with increased American interest in Malaysian cuisine. Second, Americans love that Malaysian life often promises better value. For many in the US, news feeds show jaw-dropping comparisons: decent apartments, affordable private healthcare options for expats, and food that's both cheap and incredible. That affordability is a real magnet. Videos of Americans strolling night markets, eating street food for a few dollars, and comparing living costs spark envy and curiosity. Some go further and relocate, at least temporarily, citing the ability to travel cheaply around Southeast Asia from Malaysia's hub cities. Those stories circulate on travel channels and expat forums and quietly reshape American expectations about what comfortable living can look like abroad. Third, Malaysia's multicultural mix is emotionally attractive to many Americans. Malaysia blends Malay, Chinese, Indian and indigenous influences in food, festivals, and daily life. For Americans who grew up in homogeneous places, Malaysia's everyday pluralism feels refreshing and respectful rather than forced. People notice how multiple languages and religions coexist in public life: street signs, temple bells, mosque calls, and church bells, and they find that mixture both novel and familiar. This multicultural normalcy becomes a narrative Americans love. It's global without feeling cold or postmodern, and it's rooted in traditions that are visible every day in food stalls, markets, and family celebrations. Observers and expats often comment on the ease of cultural exchange in Malaysia and how welcoming ordinary people are toward visitors. Fourth, Malaysian creators and entertainment are reaching global audiences. TikTok stars, YouTubers, and indie filmmakers produce short, emotional content that lands with Americans. Creators show daily life, recipe hacks, cultural celebrations, and personal stories in plain, shareable formats. Film festivals and rising local cinema also create international touchpoints that let Americans engage beyond food and travel. They see real, human stories from Malaysia on global streaming platforms and at festivals. The growing visibility of Malaysian films and music feeds curiosity, and when Americans find a song, film, or creator they like, they keep following. Fifth, Americans appreciate how young Malaysians adapt global trends with local flair. Look at fashion, cafes, creative street food mashups, and micro-businesses. Young Malaysians remix global aesthetics with Malay, Chinese and Indian motifs and ingredients. That creative blend feels authentic and not just derivative. When American trend watchers scroll through feeds and see Malaysian creators remixing pop culture with local touchstones, they recognize originality, and that recognition turns into quiet fandom. The net effect is a social media loop. American attention drives creators to produce more globally friendly content, which draws more Americans in. Sixth, the Malaysian diaspora and travel-friendly infrastructure matter. Though the Malaysian American population is relatively small compared to other Asian origin groups, the diaspora acts as cultural ambassadors. Malaysian restaurants, grocery stores, and community festivals in American cities create nodes where Americans can first encounter Malaysian culture. These first encounters often happen through friends, university campuses, and food festivals. Then, social media amplifies those experiences. One viral clip of a durian reaction or a Ramadan bazaar can reach hundreds of thousands of Americans who have never been to Malaysia. The diaspora's visible events and small businesses help build a steady, organic curiosity. Seventh, Malaysians are excellent hosts, and Americans notice. From couch surfing and guesthouse owners to small cafe owners who go the extra mile, many Americans describe Malaysian hospitality as warm and unpretentious. That reputation spreads through travel blogs, influencer videos, and word of mouth. When a traveler's first memory of a country is a friendly local who helps them find the best market stall, they tell the story loudly, and Americans listen. Personal stories about kindness during travel generate loyalty in viewers who may never visit but feel emotionally connected. 8th, religion and cultural festivals fascinate Americans in a way that's not just voyeuristic but respectful. Events like Hari Raya, Chinese New Year, Deepavali, and local harvest festivals have rituals, clothes, and foods that create vivid, shareable moments. Americans often say they feel included because festival scenes show families gathering, neighbors visiting, and whole communities celebrating together. These visual stories translate extremely well to short-form video, vibrant colors, family interactions, and joyful rhythms, perfect content for platforms where emotion travels fast. 9th, nature and low-cost adventure sell the dream. Malaysia packs islands like Langkawi and Tioman, dense rainforests, and highland retreats within easy travel distance. American outdoor lovers who see snorkeling clips, jungle treks, or wildlife videos often translate that interest into travel planning. These are not just postcard shots. The travel content emphasizes accessible adventure, clear water, affordable diving, jungle lodges that feel wild but insured by local guides. That accessibility is crucial. It turns passive interest into actual bookings. Tourism and trade reports show food service growth and rising tourist interest, which aligns with what creators and travel channels show online. 10th, political and social curiosity fuels deeper engagement. Some Americans follow Malaysia because it sits at interesting geopolitical crossroads: Southeast Asia's trade, China relations, and U.S. diplomacy. Political coverage and opinions, sometimes heated online, generate another kind of attention. Americans who want to understand global trends start reading Malaysian news, following Malaysian analysts abroad, or watching in-depth explainers from Malaysian journalists who now split time between the U.S. and KL. Those discussions often spill into cultural appreciation. People who start learning about Malaysia's politics often end up fascinated by its culture. Recent news items have amplified U.S.-Malaysia dialogues, making Americans pay more attention, sometimes critically, sometimes admiringly. Now, let's tell the practical, human side of this affection, the concrete reasons Americans keep returning to Malaysian content and culture again and again. Many Americans feel comfortable with Malaysia's English level. English is widely used in urban Malaysia. Signage, menus, and tourist services are often bilingual. That immediate linguistic bridge lowers friction for travelers and viewers. When someone can order food, ask for directions, and understand cultural context without struggling, the experience flips from foreign to accessible. That accessibility is a major reason Americans keep engaging with Malaysian content. American creators also love the wow contrast. Malaysia offers surprising juxtapositions: glossy malls next to century-old street stalls, ultramodern towers facing colonial shophouses, digital nomad cafes above spice markets. Americans are trained to respond to contrast. Their feeds reward surprise. Malaysian content delivers contrast in ways that are visually arresting and narratively satisfying. Another truth: authenticity. Americans tend to sniff out stage tourism quickly. Malaysia's daily life, chaotic wet markets, family-run kopitiams, late-night hawker scenes, feels raw and real. When a creator films a wet market with no scripted lines, that authenticity lands with American viewers who increasingly dislike polished, branded tourism messaging. The authenticity of Malaysian street life creates emotional trust. Also, American palates are adventurous now. Over the past decade, U.S. food culture expanded from a few Asian cuisines to a broader appetite for flavors. Malaysian cuisine's use of coconut milk, tamarind, belacan, pandan, and complex spice blends offers novel taste profiles that American foodies find irresistible. Daring food videos, like durian tasting or sambal challenges, perform exceptionally well because they combine shock, discovery, and sensory description in a one-minute clip. There's also the economic storytelling. Malaysia is often framed as a place where you can live well without a Western wage. That narrative appeals to Americans burned out by high rents and medical bills. When viewers see a content creator paying a small fraction of U.S. living costs and still enjoying city nightlife, families, and travel, the story becomes aspirational. It's not always perfect. There are trade-offs like bureaucracy, language quirks outside urban centers, and different social norms, but the net narrative resonates. quality of life can look very different, and sometimes better, than what Americans expect. Music and pop culture add layers. Malaysian indie artists and film talent are crossing regional borders. When Americans discover a Malaysian song or a powerful short film clip, they feel like insiders to something new. Streaming and short-form video let artists gain fans without expensive marketing. Film festivals and local cinema buzz increase curiosity and respect. The creative output gives cultural depth beyond food and travel, which helps Americans view Malaysia as a country of ideas and stories, not just exotic scenes. Practical reality: the Malaysian government and tourism industry have also been working to make the country more visible and travel-friendly. Improved airport connections, new visa options for digital nomads, and tourism campaigns aimed at younger travelers help funnel Americans into Malaysian content loops. When policy and culture align, attention rises, and content creators pick up the slack by filling in the human stories. Also worth noting, geopolitics and civic debates have made Malaysia more visible in American media. When diplomatic incidents, trade deals, or policy shifts hit headlines, some Americans look beyond the headline and seek out context. In that search, they often land on lifestyle and cultural content where Malaysia looks less like a news item and more like a lived reality. That shift from news country to people and culture country is powerful because culture invites empathy in a way headlines rarely do. Recent high-profile diplomatic conversations have increased American scrutiny, which paradoxically introduced more people to Malaysia's culture and people beyond the political narrative. We should also call out a few measurable trends that back this up. The Malaysian restaurant market and food service have shown steady growth, which parallels increased global interest in Malaysian cuisine. Market reports and tourism documents show growth in food service and international visitor interest, signs that demand is real, not just hype. Those market signals are the commercial proof behind viral videos. People go from watching to eating, from liking to buying plane tickets. Now, how do Americans express this love privately? Some examples: they bookmark recipes, subscribe to Malaysian creators, join online durian groups, follow KL street food channels, and send Malaysian gifts to friends. Others enroll in language lessons to learn basic Malay phrases after falling in love with a travel vlog. Some even plan a 6-month stay. They find a co-living arrangement, rent a room in an eco-lodge, and learn market routes from creators. These small acts show a deeper curiosity that goes beyond tourist photos. It becomes a lifestyle experiment. Why, secretly, love? Because mainstream conversation rarely celebrates countries that don't fit easy power narratives. Loving Malaysia isn't loud on cable news. It lives instead in niche groups, comment threads under food videos, and communities where cultural love grows quietly. That quietness makes the love more authentic. It's not driven by PR campaigns alone, it's person to person. What does this mean for creators and channels that want American viewers? Make content that answers simple practical questions with emotional clarity: what to eat first, how to act at a festival, how to find a safe beach, and how to live well on a budget. Show real interactions with locals. Avoid tired cliches. Focus on human moments: a grandmother making tea, a taxi driver recommending a hidden stall, a student explaining campus life. Those specific, human microstories build trust and repeat views. One last truth: this affection can deepen into advocacy. Americans who learn to love Malaysian culture often become its soft ambassadors, recommending travel, buying Malaysian books, and advocating for respectful cultural exchange. That ripple effect matters because small, persistent recommendations are what build lasting, cross-cultural friendships. So here's the simple, honest summary: Americans secretly love Malaysian culture because it offers surprising flavors, affordable and comfortable living, vibrant multicultural everyday life, authentic human stories, accessible English bridges, adventurous nature, and creative youth culture that speaks the global language of short-form video. Those ingredients combine into a package that feels both new and warmly familiar. When Americans discover Malaysia through honest, human content, not staged tourism, they don't just like it, they quietly hold it in their feeds and in their plans. Closing hook: if you want viewers to feel this same pull, show them one real moment, not a list, and end that clip with a question they can't ignore. Want me to write a 60-second TTS script that nails this emotional moment and ends with a hook every 20 to 30 seconds for retention? Say, write 60s TTS hook, and I'll make it now.